Is she here right now? Thank you. Good morning. Welcome to City Hall. Welcome to Council Chambers. This is a meeting of the Los Angeles City Council. It is Wednesday, March 29th. It is now, I think, 10:17. We're waiting for a final quorum. One other member. We have 4 members who are excused today, so we will begin tomorrow. We will begin in just a moment, the council. Thank you very much. I'd ask Mr. Padilla to come down to the council chambers. Thank you. ready to begin our meeting. I'd like to first acknowledge we have visitors today from Girls Today, Women Tomorrow mentoring program. They're standing with Mr. Cardenas over here, if we could have the camera. It's a mentoring program. It's actually in CD14, and I know if Mr. Huizar is here, he'd want to recognize. We have Anita Garcia, who's a mentor, Roxana Rodriguez, Hortensia Oriano, and Judith Olivas, 3 students. Welcome to City Council today. Pleased that you're here with us. Colleagues, Mr. Clerk, if we could call the roll.
Cardenas, Gruel, Hahn, Weezer, Labange, Padilla, Parks, Perry, Reyes, Rosendahl, Smith, Weiss, Wesson, Zine, Garcetti. 10 members present and a quorum, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. I'd like to call this meeting in session. So the first item of business.
Approval of the minutes.
Mr. Zine moves, Ms. Perry seconds.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Councilmember Smith moves, Mr. Reyes seconds.
Madam President, now would be time for comments from the public on items not on Council's agenda.
Yes, we will take public comment at this time. We do have a card from Van Nuys today. If we can, I'd like to acknowledge Sharon Brewer. We could have our access to Van Nuys City Hall. Good morning, Sharon. Please begin.
All right. Thank you. My name is Sharon Brewer, and I'm going to start off first saying that it should never be too late to do the right thing. Closure of any part of Lake Balboa to the public by a promoter should not be allowed. I'm here to speak again about the event scheduled on April 2nd, 2006, this Sunday at Lake Balboa, with the closure access of the southern section of the park, including the only children's playground area and the bike path that goes through the park to the public unless they pay an admission fee unknown as of today. The 2 signs at the park I spoke about on Tuesday, March 21st, 2006, are still the only advertisements at the park at Lake Balboa: date, place, and phone numbers. The motion on this event states that the Persian New Year celebration will promote a greater cultural awareness of the Persian community in the greater Los Angeles area. How can this happen if the community or the people who walk at Lake Balboa don't know anything about the event except what are on the 2 signs? Again, date, place, and phone numbers to contact. There should be a flyer like the one I have here, which hopefully you can see, advertising an event for Sunday, May 7th, 2006, with the time of 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. at Woodley Park, with admission price of $5, free parking, and a website to get more information. This event's not going to happen until May, but it's already out for the public. My question to Recreation and Parks and CD6 is, why isn't a poster like the one for an event May 7th, 2006 been posted at Lake Balboa so that the people know what is planned for it? Once again, the closure of Lake Balboa, any part of Lake Balboa, should not be happening.
Thank you. If we ask you to conclude.
Okay, and once again, it should never be too late to do the right thing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'd like to ask the following individuals who are here: Xochitl Lujan, Valentin Diaz, Daniel Salgado. I'm going to go ahead and call the South Central Farmers to represent Maria Avina, Elisa Avina, Jose Nicolas, Candido Santana, Lucila Delgado. I think that's it. And then we have, following will be Michael Carrion.
My name is Xochitl Lujan. Is this on?
I think it's on. Yes, go ahead, please.
Okay, can I have my time back, please?
Yes.
Thank you. My name is Xochitl Lujan. I'm from the Chicana and Chicano Studies Alumni Association at California State University, Dominguez Hills. On Friday, March 24th, 2006, I came before this elected body to express my concerns during public testimony. I spoke about how public and private funds were used to purchase a soccer field at Slauson in Maine. Additionally, I submitted 2 pictures showing how it is currently being used to park cars and semis. After my comments, I was approached by Mr. Mark Williams, who claimed to represent concerned citizens of South Central Los Angeles. Mr. Sam Sanchez was present and witnessed the following threat that Mr. Williams made towards my public comments. We have over 3,000 soccer members, he said. We can easily crush the farmers. That threat was accompanied by a gesture of crushing a fist within my face. And I'd like to play this for you.
Jan Perry called the community. She asked my mother, Juanita Tate, what does the community want to do about the golf? Because that's where our community started. That's where our organization started. My mother said, Jan, we need a soccer field. He said, okay.
Clearly, Mr. Williams has stated his relationship with Councilperson Perry. If you need to hear the tape again, I'd be happy to play it back for you at your request. Who elected Juanita Tate or Mark Williams to represent South Central? Shouldn't the people elect who represents them? And no one outside of Jan Perry's office knows who Juanita Tate or Mark Williams are. It's sad that these are the kinds of institutions and community actions that Ms. Perry endorses. It is a sad day when one cannot, as a woman, come and give commentary openly and freely without fear of reprisal by a corrupt organization that Ms. Perry sponsors in the community. These are not the kinds of soccer fields that should be in our communities, nor are they the kinds of institutions needed in our community.
Thank you. If I could ask you to conclude.
The change in demographic is here, ladies and gentlemen. I also have attached a copy for you of a Los Angeles Times article that has to do with this issue, and I'd like to give it a courtesy copy to each and every one of the council members.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Someone can-
Our next speaker, Valentin Diaz. Do you need a translator? ¿Habla inglés?
Mi nombre es Valentín Díaz.
Oh, un momento, por favor.
Primero, buenos días.
First of all, good morning.
Mi nombre es Valentín Díaz.
My name is Valentin Diaz.
Estoy aquí representando a los campesinos
I am here
de la Sur
representing
Central,
the
41 y
farmers,
Alameda,
South Central, 41 Alameda.
siempre para pedirles
Always to ask you,
especialmente a la señora
to
Jan
ask
Perry,
you,
que es la concejal del
especially
distrito,
Ms. Perry, who is the council member of the district,
que siempre nos considere
to consider ourselves,
al señor concejal Cárdenas
also Mr. Cárdenas,
y a los concejales que hablen habla hispana
also other council members, Spanish speaking,
y a los concejales que hablan el inglés.
also council members, the ones who speak English.
Yo estuve en la marcha del sábado.
I was in the demonstration last Saturday.
Me da gusto que nuestra gente haya despertado.
It's a pleasure for me that our people woke up.
Me da gusto que el león que estaba dormido
It's a pleasure for me that the lion who was asleep
haya despertado.
woke up finally.
El jardín que tenemos
The
nosotros,
garden we currently have,
yo quisiera que ya hicieran algo
I wanted to
por
do
ese lugar.
something about that place.
Siempre he estado esperando algo
I have always been waiting for something to
y
occur,
nunca se ha visto nada.
and we haven't seen anything yet.
Hemos visto represalias nada más.
We just seen some fights.
Por favor,
Please.
señores concejales,
Council members,
señor presidente,
Mr. President,
señor Yarayan Perry, que es la concejal de
Ms.
allí,
Perry, Council of the District,
hagan algo por nosotros.
do something for us.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you. Daniel Salgado.
Buenos días, mi nombre
Good
es
morning.
José.
My name is Jose.
Vengo representando a
I
los
come to
campesinos del sur
represent
centro.
the farmers of South Central.
Vengo hoy con mucho
I'm coming
entusiasmo
today
y optimismo.
very excited.
A dirigirles
I'm
la
very
palabra.
optimistic to talk to you.
Yo participé en la marcha histórica
I also was part of the demonstration
del sábado pasado
last Saturday
contra la criminalización de emigrantes
against the criminals and immigration.
y me dio mucho gusto ver a
And
tanta
it's a
gente
pleasure for me to have seen so many
de
people
buena voluntad y dispuesta a luchar
just
por sus derechos.
willing to fight for their rights.
Vi a personas de nacionalidades y raza,
I saw people, different races and nationalities,
todos unidos con la meta de
All
repartir los frutos de
united.
la democracia.
to do democracy.
A toda persona,
Every person,
no obstante su estado económico,
however, their financial status,
sabemos que las leyes migratorias
We know
favorecen a la
that immigration law
gente adinerada.
is in favor of
Y
people
castigan a
with
los
money,
pobres.
and it's against poor people.
De esta misma manera vengo a recordarles
Same way, I want to remind you
que nuestra lucha para salvar el jardín
That
de la
our
41
fight-
de Alameda
to save the garden of Alameda
tiene algo muy en común
has something in
con
common
las grandes manifestaciones que se han realizado
with the big march that they have happened
a través del país.
throughout the country.
Nosotros que trabajamos la tierra y
We
luchamos
work
para salvar
The farm,
el jardín,
and we fight to save the farm,
somos personas trabajadores
We are-
de humildes recursos.
worker people, and we are poor.
No pedimos limosna,
We are
sino
not
un poco de
begging.
tierra para combatir el hambre.
We just need some land to be able to survive.
Si vemos nuestra lucha de esta manera,
If we can fight and we can do it this way,
nuestra lucha es a nivel vemos
Our fight-
que nos metemos al ramo de los derechos humanos.
we will see our human rights.
Con eso los dejo. Gracias.
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Maria Avina, followed by Alicia Avina.
Mi nombre es Elisa Vina.
My name is Elisa Vina.
Vengo representando
I represent
el jardín de la 41 y la Alameda.
41 and Alameda Farm,
Queremos que nos hagan el favor de
and we want
ayudarnos
to please
a
help
conservar
us
el jardín.
to save the farm.
Ustedes pueden ayudarnos
You can help us
y por los muchos niños que hay
because
que
of
andan
all
en
the
la calle.
children that they are there and they are on the street. And that's it.
Ok. Ya. Gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you, Maria Avina. Jose Nicholas? Okay, Jose Nicholas? That's it, that's all? Okay. I think we also had Samuel Sanchez and Michael Carrion.
Good afternoon. My name is Samuel Sanchez, and I live in the San Pedro area, and I work with a group called Food Not Bombs. I think you guys may have seen me before around in this room. I think you guys may have heard of the South Central Farm. And I think some of you were present yesterday morning at a committee meeting regarding the Community Redevelopment Agency's plan for redevelopment of the area south of the 10, which is very interesting because one of the people representing South Central as far as business and commercial are Mark Williams, who is also under investigation as being part of the community constituents group that Jan Perry started. It's really interesting also then that she would be part of all these different programs that are creating development and making developers profit, and then refuses to even meet with the farmers in a town hall setting. I think this is unfair, and I think that this redevelopment plan that includes a neighborhood initiative of over $3 million for things like putting people's names on some walk on the street and planting a few trees. I think those trees can be planted around the city without the development of a huge shopping plaza that benefits nobody in the city except for the corporations. And these conflicts of interest that our council persons sometimes carry can really hinder our abilities to be represented fully. And when special interest groups are in the committee for representing South Central as far as business and commercial, and then they also sit on they're a soccer coach, and they sit on a community concerned citizens group, how do they do both? How do you not negate that? How do you negate that conflict of interest that is obviously existing here? I don't understand.
Thank you very much. Is Michael Carrion here?
Well, my name is Michael Carrion. I'm from the 14th District. And the other day I was listening to Mr. Weezer, fortunately he's not here, speak of accountability. Kind of a touchy subject for me since his office does not know how to return calls. Accountability is when somebody says they're going to return the call, they return the call. But Mr. Weezer's office has been the worst of the City Hall that I can't work with. Accountability, Mr. Reyes, I have a letter here from January 18th. Your office is working to get removal of graffiti off of a swimming pool. The graffiti's still there. Who's accountable for these things? Is Mr. Weezer just talking? The mayor's not accountable because he's too busy in New York and worried about the Board of Education. Who is accountable for these things? Graffiti, does the city have a zero tolerance, or does the city not have a zero tolerance? Or is it only for the residents and businesses and not city property or anything like that? Accountability should be a two-way street. This horseshoe here is not always accountable for their actions. They run and they hide behind litigation. They hide behind loopholes in the law. The law is stated very clearly. If the city council does not like the way to be accountable for their actions, change the rules. Make it very simple. There's zero tolerance in the city of Los Angeles except for city entities, except for city properties. There's accountability for us, the public, but for not you, city councilmen. For the mayor, he doesn't have to be accountable. The mayor and I had a conversation when he was councilman. He stated very clearly that he was not going to run for mayor, but he changed his mind. I spoke to him about another problem. Again, he changed his mind. Well, Mr. Villaraigosa, there's one more thing that's going to change, the voters' minds next year. I mean, when it's time to vote, you're going to be the second mayor not to return. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Seeing no further public comment cards, public comment has been closed. Mr. Clerk, if we could begin our other items.
Madam President, before beginning the agenda, there has been a request to continue item 5 to Friday.
That item will be continued without dissent to Friday, the 31st.
On the regular agenda, items 1 through 14, with the exception of 5, are items for which public hearings have been held.
Colleagues, any specials on 1 through 14? We do have a card on item 9, and Mr. Zine has asked that we, even though there's been a public hearing, that we open it up for public hearing. Correct,
Yes.
Mr. Zine?
Yes,
Okay.
Madam President, thank you, and also 10 special.
Item 9 and 10. Any other specials, colleagues? If not, Madam Clerk, open the roll on the remaining items, close the roll, tabulate the votes.
10 ayes.
Those items have been approved.
And the ordinances will go over 1 week.
Thank you. We may have 12 members at one point, I'm not sure, at any time. No, I guess not. Okay.
Items 15 through 30 are items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes are required for consideration. Item 15 is a commission appointment. Do you wish to hold that on the desk?
Yes, we could hold item 15 on the desk.
That would leave council items 16 through 30, and there is a substitute motion that has been circulated on item 24.
I know that we have a card on item 30, so we would call that one special. I think on number 18, but we have to, until we have 11 members, so we will hold it until we have 11 members present. Number 18 will be held. Any other specials, colleagues? Any other specials? Item number 16, to be continued till Friday. Item 16, be continued until Friday. Any objections? Anything else? Okay. If not, colleagues, Madam Clerk, if you could open the roll on the remaining items. Close the roll. Tabulate the votes.
10 ayes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes, for Mr. Rosendahl, if we have 21, go forthwith.
21 go forthwith. Okay. Right. Okay, on item 16, I know Mr. Rosendahl would like to be here. If he arrives before the end of the meeting, that item will be considered today. If not, it'll be continued till Friday. So we'll hold item number 16 on the desk. Mr. Clerk, other items?
Items 31 through 34 are closed session items. Do you wish to hold those on the desk?
We'll hold those items on the desk.
On the continuation agenda, item 35 is an item for which public hearing has not been held. 10 votes are required for consideration.
We do have a card on that item, so we'll call that item special.
That would take you back to the items called special, and the first would be the commissioner, which is item 15, the appointment of Ms. Virginia Victorian to the Commission on Disability.
Please join us at the center table. I know that if Mr. Labange was here, he'd stand up and ask you a few questions, but if you'd like to tell us a little bit about your interest in serving on this commission.
Good morning, Presiding Pro Tem Wendy Gruhl and fellow council members. I'm a parent of a special needs child who's now 11 and diagnosed with autism. And not only am I a parent, but I'm an LA resident and happen to also be an aunt of a child who has cerebral palsy, who's partially sighted, and a deaf child who is my nephew, who has a cochlear implant, and another niece who is learning disabled. And for the last 10 years, my husband and I have dedicated our life to serving families who have just found out that their children have special needs. Part of the work that I've done over the course of my life has been to serve young people and their families in underserved communities. And I hope that the 15 years that I've done my work in the community, but also the work that I've done in philanthropy and corporate volunteerism is a testament to the value of corporate volunteerism, as I've used that opportunity to really further my own interest and my involvement in improving the quality of life for the city and for families like ours. And that's why I think I'm really excited about the opportunity to serve in this way. And I think that with 30 years of experience behind me, moving forward, who knows? But with support from my families here, Fiesta Educativa, who's standing behind me, and my husband, who's always been supportive of my work, and our son, Gabriel, who's a proud honor roll student at Orville Wright Middle School with his special needs, I stand before you and hope that you will confirm my appointment.
Thank you very, very much. I know I have Councilmember Reyes would like to speak.
I just rise to support you in this appointment. I've known you for several years, since our UCLA days, and back then college was a strong advocate for students, bringing in inner city kids into the experience of higher education, and ever since then has been a strong advocate at many different levels in the private sector, in government, and now to see you here in the government sector is very special to me, to see that level of influence you've had over the years. So I'm glad you're here. I know you do a great job. I'm looking forward to working with you.
Thank you, Mr. Reyes. And Virginia, we've not had the pleasure of meeting before, but just hearing you speak, I know that you're an excellent commissioner and going to be able to use your own experiences to further our work on the Department of Disability. So appreciate your serving on that commission. So with no further ado, Madam Clerk, if you could open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the votes.
10 ayes.
Congratulations. Look forward to working with you. Thank you. Next item.
Item 9 was called special for a card from the public.
Yes, Mr. Paul Marks.
Hi, thank you for letting me have this opportunity. On behalf of the Engineers and Architects Association, we had a concern on item number 9, but that concern apparently has been addressed, and so we appreciate your patience.
Thank you, fabulous. Appreciate you being here today. Colleagues, we'll now open the roll on this item, close the roll, tabulate the votes.
10 ayes.
That item's been approved. Thank you very much. Next item.
Item 10 was called special by Councilmember Zine.
Mr. Zine.
Thank you, Madam President. There were issues that were brought up in the Personnel Committee, and fortunately, they've been resolved, so we can move that item forward.
Thank you. Mr. Zine. Madam Clerk, if you could open the roll on item number 10, close the roll, tabulate the votes.
10 ayes.
That item has been approved. Next item.
Item 16 was still being held for Mr. Rosendahl, who is not in chambers yet.
Correct, and number 18, we're waiting for an additional member.
That would take you up to item 30, and that was called special for a card from the public.
I believe that's Ms. Sylvia Lynn Hawkins. Item number 30, Ms. Hawkins.
Good morning. My name is Ms. President Sylvia Hawkins. On number 30, we must say no. We must get out of the thinking of it's ugly women's time to work and not pretty women's. All restaurants must close down for the next 2 years. These people are using their private part to get up sickness and disease. Governor Schwarzenegger, ex-President Bill Clinton, President Bush cannot no longer hide out illegal pretty women in special events and not go to war or work. No longer will it be at the time of 8 o'clock for ugly women's time to go to work. Pretty women's jobs is the kitchen and the bed. Pretty women don't go to work. They are found in arenas, party lands, convention centers, casinos, or in churches and schools hidden under from Alaska or Asia and Egypt to have free room and board in luxury states and areas. So I'm very much against people that are working, but we do not see pretty women working. President Bush will not get away, who is an AWOL president, who is hiding women that are pretty. They are now dead under universities, schools. Thank you very much. My name is President Sylvia Hawkins.
Thank you, Ms. Hawkins. Colleagues, if we could call the roll. Madam Clerk, on this item number 30, open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the votes.
10 ayes.
Thank you. That item's been approved. Next item.
Item 35 was called special for a card from the public.
Before we go to item 35, we have a wonderful guest here with us, and I'll ask Mr. Weston if he could do the introductions.
Well, I'm going to get her close to me because I want people in Los Angeles to see her. We're, I think, honored today to have a visitor, and I would stand up to speak when I have a mint in my mouth. Only
You smell good.
I'm trying to get it down. We have the district attorney from the great county of San Francisco with us today. She's also the district attorney for the great city of San Francisco. We're going to...
The only one in the state.
With the only one. We're going to have a meet and greet for her, Council Member Gruhl and I, a little later today, so I just want to present to Los Angeles DA Kamala Harris.
Thank you very much.
You want to just say hello to Los Angeles?
Well, hello, Los Angeles. I arrived this morning. It maintains itself as a beautiful city and somewhere that we look to in San Francisco to at least compare ourselves as to what the North and South is doing. But I love being here in LA, and thank you. Greetings from San Francisco. Thank you.
This is my seat.
Thank you. Welcome to Los Angeles. Mr. Clerk, next item.
Item 35 for a card from the public.
Yes, Sylvia Hawkins, item number 35.
Good, thank you very much, Councilman Juriel. Again, my name is Ms. Sylvia Hawkins. You can call me President Sylvia Hawkins. Again, on number 35, we must halt that at this time of any federal or civil case or court case must be held at this time because of judges, attorneys, representatives are here faking from New York and California. Anyone that wins each case will not receive any money because no money has been placed on the books from each defendant. All schools must close down because Mayor Villegas is with Hussein insane to take over USA, even though it seems as though he is commanding the kids to go back to school. We are asking schools to close down. I'm asking also all children, whatever job position you have been laid off on, and whatever school you are now walking out, that Harcourt A military is not playing. This is going to be worse than Dr. Martin Luther King time. We are at war, and we must recognize that Iraqis cannot come back. We have just won the war, and now they're not coming back in a uniform faking badges. I ask every illegal, even those that's here that are hiding people, to leave peacefully, United States of America, or there will be a war. It was said today on television that the sun is not shining in President Putt area. Therefore, it is not too many places you can run.
Thank you, Ms. Hawkins.
Thank you very
Appreciate
much.
it. Madam Clerk, if we could open the roll on this item. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Zine.
Thank you. This is the notorious B.I.G. case. Listening to the speaker, I didn't know we were on the same issue. Can I have the city attorney come forward on this matter, please? Good morning. I know we discussed this in the Public Safety Committee. If you can just give us, for the other council members, update where we are, the status, and our options or lack of options.
Sure. Well, to give you a status of the case, to begin with, we're due to appear back in Federal District Court April 26th, next month, to begin the process over, to set some dates for motions for discovery, and to, I'm sure, at that date, to establish a new trial date for the case going forward. We're also here today to request the payment of $1,115,585.04 in sanctions that the city incurred as a result of a court's order finding a deliberate withholding of evidence in a discovery matter in the previous case, or in the previous trial, I'm sorry.
Don Benson is on his way down.
That's fine.
The issue of the police department, Commander, the information is that the police department didn't provide the documents in a timely, proper fashion as prescribed by law, and that's what caused this over $1 million penalty to be placed upon the city?
Yes, Commander Maislin from LAPD Risk Management. There was some documents in the possession of the original the investigator from robbery homicide handling the investigation, which he kept in his desk and didn't get into the murder books, and that's what did not get turned over to the plaintiff during discovery.
And the issue regarding that particular detective and the department making sure this does not occur again with that particular detective or anyone else, they taken any action in that matter?
Well, the issue is currently under an internal investigation. I can't go into the details of it in open session, though.
So the department is reviewing the particular aspects of that case?
Absolutely.
Dealing with that detective?
Yes.
Is there a policy in place within the police department that all documents be provided at a proper fashion, a timely fashion?
That's been the policy of the department. It's been forever.
So they don't need to come out with a new policy as far as providing documents when requested for a court case?
Well, that's correct. I mean, this was a murder investigation. It wasn't a matter of providing documents to the city attorney. The murder books were provided and have been part of the discovery the whole time. He just failed to include some of the documents in the murder book, so they should have been there. The fact is, the documents belonged in the criminal investigation file.
So this is a unusual situation, not unusual situation,
We
and
have
not
some quiet in the chambers, please. Thank you.
something that is routine.
Well, I hope it's not routine. What's unusual about the case, obviously, is that it's an open murder investigation that's the subject of a lawsuit. So it's not often that open investigations are part of the discovery process in civil lawsuits. That's what's unique about the case. I also believe it to be unique that detectives do, that they normally do. I would probably say in over 99.9% of the time, file all the information in the murder books as they're required to do.
Okay. Mr. Vincent, you have any comment on that particular matter?
I'm sorry, I came in a little late, so I don't know everything you're asking about, Councilman.
Well, the issue is, and we discussed this in public safety, the over $1 million that the city's been sanctioned because of the lack of documents that were produced on request. And originally it was the city attorney's office that was the target, and it appears that the police department didn't comply and not the city attorney's office in this particular matter, with the case is still proceeding through. We discussed the aspect of appeal, if we could appeal that $1 million+ and the opinion, as I understand, was that Little Avenue to pursue that, to pursue this sanction by the court.
Yes, I can, Mike Clayson, I can address the issue of the appeal. We have researched the issue. We've considered whether or not the sanctions award can be appealed at this time or challenged by some other extraordinary writ process, and we have concluded that it cannot. It is an interlocutory order during the trial and is typically not appealable. The city's rights are preserved, and we'll revisit the issue after the case is over.
And I know that, just one final question I have on this matter, is that there's been allegations that police officers on or off duty were involved in this murder. Is there any evidence to show anything of that sort? I ask all three of you that question.
Well, there is testimony by a three-striker named Kenneth Boagny who contends that Rafael Perez and David Mack were present during the murder and may have participated in the murder. We do not believe that that evidence is credible. We do not believe that witness is credible. So absent that testimony, we do not, at this point, have any other evidence that would link either of those two former police officers to the murder.
And the police department is satisfied with that?
Absolutely. We have no evidence and we have no belief whatsoever that any current or former police officers were involved in that murder.
Okay, thank you. No further questions.
Thank you, Mr. Zine. Seeing no other speakers on the queue, Madam Clerk, if you could open the roll on this item, close the roll, tabulate the votes.
11 ayes.
That item's been approved. Mr. Clerk, we'd like to take item number 18 at this point and ask Mr. Weiss to recuse himself for the moment. 18. Thank you. Madam Clerk, if you could open the roll on item number 18, close the roll, tabulate the votes.
10 ayes.
That item has been approved. If we could ask Mr. Weiss to rejoin us. We are still holding on the desk item number 16, waiting for Mr. Rosenthal's arrival. We will now go into executive session. If I could ask the guards to clear the room.
Of the Los Angeles City Council. We have 4 items that we took up in closed session. Mr. Clerk, if we can please put the recommended actions before us for an open session vote.
The first item, item 31, there's a recommendation for settlement in the amount of $1,115,585.04 in the case entitled The Estate of Christopher Wallace versus City of Los Angeles.
Okay. Please prepare the roll and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
That is approved. Next item.
Item 32, there's a recommendation for settlement in the amount of $173,571.90 in the cases entitled Ames Construction versus City of LA, Utility Audit Company Incorporated versus City of LA, and Daniel Wang et al. Versus City of LA.
Okay. Anybody wishing to be heard on that? If not, let's prepare the roll and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
That is approved. Next item.
Item 33, there's a recommendation for settlement in the amount of $600,000 in the case entitled Estate of Carlos Perez Vertiz et al. And Marta Rivas et al. Versus City of Los Angeles.
Okay. Anybody wishing to be heard on that one? If not, let's prepare the roll on that and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
That is approved. And last one.
On item 34, there's a recommendation for settlement in the amount of $158,125 and thereafter a life pension at $105.75 per week in the workers' comp case entitled Stephen Morris versus City of LA.
Okay. Any colleagues wishing to be heard on that? If not, let's prepare the roll, Madam Clerk, and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
That is approved as well. Colleagues, that leaves just item number 16, which we've had a request to continue. We had one public speaker card, but they will speak, I believe, on Friday. If there's no objection, we will continue that item till Friday. So ordered. Okay. And any housekeeping?
Council has motions for posting and referral.
Let's post and refer those.
There are excuses on the desk. Councilmember Zion requests to be excused Wednesday, April 26th for city business. That meets council policy.
Okay, Mr. Zion is excused.
Councilmember Padilla requests to be excused to leave at 11:45 on Tuesday, April 4th for personal business. Meets council policy.
Okay, Mr. Padilla is excused.
Councilmember Hahn requests to be excused to leave at 11:30 on Tuesday, April 11th for city business. That meets council policy.
Ms. Hahn is excused.
Councilmember Labange requests to be excused Friday, May 5th for city business. That meets council policy.
Mr. Labange is excused.
And Councilmember Rosendahl requests to be excused Friday, April 21st for city business. That also meets council policy.
Okay. Mr. Rosendahl is also excused.
That clears the desk, Mr. President.
All right, colleagues, any announcements? Announcements, colleagues? I want to congratulate Mr. George Lopez on joining the Hollywood Walk of Fame in a ceremony this morning. It was well attended and not rained on, so congratulations, Mr. Lopez. And I know that his wife, Ann, was just honored by the Commission on the Status of Women for her great work with kidney and organ donation. So congratulations. Any other announcements? If not, are there any adjourning motions, colleagues? Does anybody have adjourning motions? Yes, Ms. Hahn has an announcement.
I know we're all very aware of all the students in all the schools who are using their, certainly their right to protest and make their voices heard. And while we support that, we really want to urge all of our students to certainly not do anything that would risk their public safety or others. I was called early this morning to say that the San Pedro students were planning to walk out and were hoping to shut down the Vincent Thomas Bridge. And we just urge them, again, they certainly have a right, and actually it's in some way it's encouraging that our young people are paying attention to this issue and are having their voice heard. But we really urge our students today to use this opportunity to hopefully talk about it. Hopefully we're urging our teachers to use this as a teaching moment to talk about what's going on. But we really hope our kids will keep themselves safe today and not risk public safety, either their own or others. And that's what I would like to say to all the students in my district.
Thank you very much, Ms. Hahn. Mr. Padilla.
Just on that same note, because we began to chat about it during the announcements portion of Friday's council meeting, what we anticipated to take place on Saturday. And as we spoke, there were a lot of students already last Friday beginning to demonstrate. And in the spirit of keeping this as a teaching opportunity for what's going on, let it not be lost on students and parents that for every child who is absent from school, it only decreases the funding that comes to the school district and to their particular school. The way school funding is structured, it's heavily based on what is known as ADA, average daily attendance, which literally translates into a child absent from school. It means the school doesn't get the money for that day. And I think that is not on the minds of a lot of the students when they're seeking just when and how to demonstrate. And it should be, because part of the educational challenge across the country is adequate school funding. So we ask that all parents and students keep that in mind as we're involved in this national civic dialogue on immigration.
Thank you very much, Mr. Zine.
I just want to add one more issue to this. The debate continues in Washington, D.C., and this debate's going to take a long time to resolve. It's not going to get resolved in the next few days or next few weeks. So again, we encourage the students to stay in school. Their message has been delivered and heard by people across the country. But if they want to continue protesting, they're going to be protesting for a long time, because Congress, Senate, and the White House moves very, very slow.
Thank you very much for that reminder, Mr. Zine. Also, one other announcement. Tomorrow night, the Silver Lake Improvement Association will have its annual meeting at the Russian Orthodox Church at 650 Mitchell-Terena in South Silver Lake at 7 p.m. Invite any folks that live in the Silver Lake area to come and hear about what's going on in Silver Lake at 7 p.m. tomorrow. That's Thursday night at the Russian Orthodox Church on 650 Mitchell-Terena. Any other announcements, colleagues? Yes, Ms. Perry.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I wanted to announce the second annual Empowerment Congress meeting for the 9th Council District at the Accelerated School located at the corner of Martin Luther King and Main Street, beginning at 11 a.m. There's plenty of parking, and we'll be discussing the upcoming budget process and public safety.
Thank you. Are there any adjourning motions, colleagues? Does anybody have any adjourning motions? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Cardenas, Gruel, Hahn, Padilla, Perry, Reyes, Smith, Weiss, Wesson, Zine, Garcetti.
All right, this meeting of the Los Angeles City Council is adjourned. Our next meeting will be Friday, March 31st at 10 a.m. Here at City Hall. We welcome everybody to come back then, and we will look forward to seeing you on Channel 35.